When you meet a new prospect, one of the first things they do after that meeting, alongside social media, is look at your website. They do that because they want to understand who you actually are, a little bit more about who you've worked with, and a whole lot more. Your website says more about you than you actually think. Well, today I am joined by Rob Harris. He is the founder and director of Betta Webs. Betta Webs are a HubSpot business and do everything from website design and development right through to integrating that into the HubSpot ecosystem. We look at why a website is still vital today in this world of AI, and even more so, having a website that actually converts into new business. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm Reggie James. Welcome to Perspectives. Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to see you again, albeit on the other side of the screen over there in the wilds of Kent. Remind me again where you are?
I'm down in Canterbury in Kent, southeast of England. I've always been here, grew up here.
Yes, you're a big cricketing fan, aren't you?
I am indeed. Luckily, we have Kent cricket in Canterbury, so it's only about 10 minutes away from me.
Wonderful.
Enjoy that when I can.
No, absolutely. But obviously Surrey over here, we've got the Oval, but they also play at Guildford, which is actually quite good as well. I know Kent were in the news the other day. I'm trying to remember what it was. Some kind of, I think the two batsmen ran into each other. Yeah. So it was quite an interesting thing. But without further ado, and we can talk about all of that kind of stuff, we are going to talk about you and about your company, Betta Webs. And rather than me waffle on about it, why don't you tell me a little bit about a little bit about Betta Webs and how that all started? Is that okay if we kick off with that?
Sure.
Let's go.
So, backstory about me. I'm a traditional web developer or web development or video, and I just decided to go in the web development route. My first job was at an agency and I was with them for 8 years. When I first joined, they had their own custom CMS, which was very interesting, bit of a challenge. And then we moved on to WordPress and later on into HubSpot. I was freelancing on the side in my evenings because I wanted to sort of take on my own projects, and I like, working for myself and getting my own clients. And that's where Bettawebs started just under 3 years ago. So that I've been web developing since all that time. I kind of transitioned over into more of the business sense as well. So I'm doing much more marketing and sales these days, which is a big transition from becoming a web developer. I was never client facing, coming from an in-house developer that rarely spoke to clients to then moving across to being on podcasts like this.
Yeah.
It was a massive transition for me.
Indeed.
I'm really enjoying it.
Wonderful. I've been lucky enough to work on projects with you, and I think you're brilliant front of house, coming out from behind the curtain and dealing with clients. You have a very honest and clear approach and asked all the right questions, which can always be a challenge. Now, one of the things about Bettaweb is you're very focused on HubSpot. Is that right? Can I ask why and how you got into HubSpot and why you chose to be a HubSpot specialist?
So as I touched on previously, I used to do WordPress sites, and then so the agency that I used to work for, they were a HubSpot partner. They became a partner in 2018. I was in the ecosystem, but their web development side wasn't great back then. Very few people used it. But come 2020, HubSpot themselves vitalized their CMS and made a vast change. They brought in a drag and drop page builder.
Yes.
I was building more and more HubSpot websites to improve my skills because it is a different platform from WordPress, but the transition from WordPress to HubSpot is smooth. There are similarities from a dev point of view. I got coding and creating HubSpot websites, and I just fell in love with it. It's such a great platform to build on for marketers to use themselves. And not many people were doing it, so I decided to niche Bettawebs on HubSpot itself, because I wanted to pick a niche, whether that is like industry specific or software, and I've gone the software route of HubSpot. So that's kind of where I position myself, and I feel has been the best decision I've made in the past 3 years, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. And I think that focus, certainly on the projects we've worked with, where a client is very HubSpot focused, if you like, or they've transitioned from WordPress to HubSpot, you can see both sides of the coin, having had experience on both. Can I ask you, is it a challenge for a client to moving from WordPress to HubSpot, especially, as a HubSpot obviously has a CRM attached to it as well. Can you talk about, is it true? People say, you should never transition. One of the urban myths is, you can never transition from a WordPress to HubSpot. Is that true, or does that happen all the time? And is that easy to do?
Yeah, it's very easy to migrate your website. A lot of the myth you touched upon is people say that if you move to a SaaS platform, you never own your website because you have to pay the company, whether that be Shopify or HubSpot. But in reality, even a WordPress website, you don't technically own it. I mean, you do, you still got to host it. It is open source. But that shouldn't be an issue. It doesn't really matter if you own it or not. It's your website. Once you're locked into a platform, you're locked into a platform. Now on WordPress, you can move server, but that's the only thing you can do. Migrating to HubSpot is the same as migrating to any other platform. You've got to make sure all of the procedures and make sure it's developed right and everything correctly put in place. The main benefits of HubSpot is the CRM of choice is HubSpot. You're in the same tools, it easily talks to one another. And that's one of the main benefits of it.
Okay. I mean, there are many benefits of using HubSpot as a platform. And I know that more recently, HubSpot, like all companies, have had to adapt with AI and various other things. I do have to say, I am sick of that HubSpot ad for the AI agent that you get on YouTube before it starts. Have you seen the one?
We've seen a couple, yeah.
Yeah, where it goes, you can't be everywhere all at once. Well, you can now with HubSpot AI agent. And I was like, oh, please. I've seen worse, but it can be a little bit annoying. Been some massive changes at HubSpot as it's adapted. Could you maybe just touch on a couple of big changes that have happened to HubSpot over the last year that made it better?
Yeah, so you mentioned the AI agents. They've recently announced a whole new AI agent marketplace. They've released some new AI agents within the platform. The main one released earlier in the year was the customer support agent. Lots of people have put that on their websites. It's basically a chatbot, but you can ask any questions and it will reply to you as long as you feed it, as long as it has like a knowledge base about your company. You can ask any questions and it will answer them how a human would. So for people that use service, like a service orientated website that have lots of customers that need to serve, like answer questions all the time. Yeah, it's great benefit like that.
Okay.
Another one would be content remix on Content Hub specifically. You can produce one piece of content, whether that be, let's say, someone produced a blog and it was like 2,000 words long. You can take that whole blog article, use Content Remix on HubSpot, and it will output 5 other assets that you can use. So whether that be a social post, an ad, digital ad, an email or a newsletter, whole landing page, it kind of uses AI to do that and output that.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah, they're really quite interesting tools. Do they work? Well, I know everyone talks about hallucinations and various other things like that. Are you prompting those changes with the blog scenario that you gave? Or is it just kind of actively working out, interrogating your database and trying to intelligently work out what you're requiring, i.e. getting into your head and trying to work out what you want?
Yeah, so you have to set up your brand and tone of voice. There's an area in HubSpot to set that up so it can know what your tone of voice is. some background details of your whole brand and company. Once that's set up, then once you create the content, yes, there are questions and you need to give it good prompts in that process, because the more context you give AI, the better the output. So yeah, you've still got to do it how you would on other tools like Claude or ChatGPT. Yeah, it works similar.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So some of the changes I've come across, so many people talking about, well, I suppose the example I can give is AI creating websites. There's a lot of sort of AI driven website tools out there. And I know it's early days, and I suppose it's the elephant in the room. But I think what I find is that having seen people use them and then say, oh, wow, look at this. To be brutally honest, I think they're absolutely awful, both aesthetically and in terms of functionality and various other things. I've just come off the phone to a 20-year plus brand designer, a guy who comes up with a logo design and everything else like that. And the stuff he produces compared to some of the stuff you can get done on AI, I can tell you now, they are poles apart. Where do you feel this is going in terms of website design and development, in terms of the machine and the human input, the hybrid kind of, do you think it's moving more that way, or do you think it's just going to go all AI? I personally don't think it will, because AI can't buy experience and have that eye.
No.
What's your view on that?
I think the whole AI website generator, I say it serves a purpose, but that purpose would be a very early startup or one like for a freelancer, someone who just needs a one-page website or a couple of page websites. I can't see a way of creating a 20-page or 50-page website built for a marketing team using AI. One person's going to create this AI generated website, and all these marketers have no idea how to edit it. That's where HubSpot's not going to be really replaced. HubSpot itself, you can create landing pages with AI. Not that I've done much of that yet, because the output are, are questionable. But the whole advantage of the traditional route using a CMS is that, and HubSpot itself, it's built for marketers to take ownership and control of building their landing pages, not relying on a developer to make any change. There's the whole modular system has been built for you. That's what we do at Bettawebs. We build websites using a modular structure to give them the modules they need for the marketing teams to then drag and drop and reorder to build further landing pages without the need of a developer. So that, I don't think that's ever you can't really replace that with AI, because you've still got to have the knowledge to prompt AI to get a page that you are happy with. And that is a skill in itself.
Yes, no, absolutely. And that is not something you can learn in a textbook, on a half-day course. You have to live through that. And I think that's where in the future, with a lot of AI type tools, and we're finding this as well, that we use AI as an additive and not a sort of given in terms of, a finished product. Though there've been lots of posts on LinkedIn, especially talking about the death of big consultancy firms like McKinsey and Boston Consulting and all of those. Well, they don't realize these are multi-billion-dollar businesses, and they've been around for 100 years for all those changes. And they will probably be around in another 100 years, albeit in a different guise, but things evolve. And I think we're still very much at the early stages of AI in development. Another thing that I've been hearing about, which is slightly contentious, is people saying we don't need a website anymore. AI, everything will be browser based. What do you feel about that? What's your view on that rather contentious point of view? I know what my view is.
So I wouldn't say that's going to be true. You're always going to need a website, because the AI still needs to learn from something. Take news articles. They have to be posted on a website for AI to scrape that data to use in its language model. Same with your business. You still need a website telling your customers what you do, what service you have, then AI can use that data and add it to their knowledge base to, if someone asks about it, to output your company and those results. So you'll still need a website, but your traffic to that website is going to slowly diminish. Like we're already seeing decrease because more people are using AI for their everyday search. But it's still important to have a website. You've got to use that to speak to the AI. Whether that will change in a few years, who knows? The information always has to live somewhere, whether that's on other platforms like Reddit. I know AI platforms are using Reddit, and Reddit's being talked a lot recently because it's using Reddit quite a bit, taking that data. So being on, not relying just on your website and being present on other platforms helps a lot as well. Being in the communities, spreading your marketing and not just relying on traditional Google search.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very good point. AI tools, as you rightly say, scrape data from lots of sources. Invariably, there are different types of websites, but ultimately, in terms of a client's due diligence, nobody wakes up one day and types your brand's name into Google to buy it. That's a journey they take. The due diligence a client does on your website, the passive due diligence they do, is probably one of the strongest assets. I think I saw a report by CMO Alliance. What are the biggest sources of due diligence? It's not AI. It's actually a client's website, believe it or not. It's still the number one anchor when it comes to getting a clear idea. And then other areas like LinkedIn and various other things. Then it goes to social channels, YouTube being another one, especially in B2B, which is the space that we're in. The lines are blurring, and you're absolutely right.
You've also got to, as soon as you mention a new company, the first thing you do is Google that company, go to their website. Now,
100%.
if you remove the website, how would you find out about the company? You could go to their social profiles, but what is it going to give you? Do you trust it? So you need a shop window on your website. You can display videos, you can display images. You get a flavor of your business through your website. And I don't see a way of that being replaced anytime soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Saying people visit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So Rob, time is against us. I always try and do sort of like 20 odd minutes because it's a nice slice for people to listen to without getting it too long or too short. I've got so many questions I want to ask you, both about HubSpot and about web design and development. So maybe we can do a part 2 if you have some time in the future. I'd love to do that. Before we go, tell me a little bit more about you, Rob, and something. We talked about cricket earlier. I know you're a big fan of cricket, but what else is there that people may not know about? Maybe something that you can share, anything you might have watched recently that you've enjoyed, or anything that you've read you can share just to give a little bit of an insight.
Yeah, I'm a big YouTube fan. I watch a lot of YouTube content these days. I see different traditional TV. I'm watching traditional TV less and less. There's like so many things you can learn on YouTube, whether it's like businesses or podcasts. So I spend a lot of my time on YouTube. Another thing would be Netflix. I'm looking forward to the new Stranger Things season 5 later this year.
Oh, I expect nothing less from a tech geek to be going into some vintage. Stranger Things is a phenomenon. I absolutely love it. It's so good. When is that coming out?
I think it's November, at the end of November.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite soon.
The Upside Down.
Yeah.
No, there's some great stuff out there. I myself on Netflix am watching billions, and podcast wise, I've started rediscovering Diary of a CEO with Steve Bartlett. Yeah. He's done shorter form content, and he's quite inspirational in terms of some of the guests he has on, certainly in terms of business, health, things like sleep. He's done a wonderful thing recently on sleep. Who have the mighty Kents got? Is the season ending now?
Yeah.
Rules are on, aren't they?
They might have a 4-day game soon, but I mean, it's raining here right now, so
rain stopped playing, and it's almost about to stop playing our podcast, unfortunately. So we will have to stop for tea at some point. And sorry if you Googled your way, but you certainly hit me for some of those answers. I absolutely love it. So just to round off, Rob, where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best place is probably LinkedIn. These days I post quite a bit on LinkedIn, so you can find me Rob Harris, whether you add a HubSpot at the end. Yeah, or you can find me at bettawebs.com. That's BETTA, as in the fish.
Absolutely.
Webs.com. You can find me there as well.
Fantastic. Well, Rob, I'll add all of that stuff in the show notes. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. I look forward to doing a part 2 with you. This has been Perspectives, and see you again soon. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.